Naked Shamanism. Welcome to With Insights Radio. I'm your host, Iggy Garcia. I will take you on a journey across the universe through shamanism, metaphysical, and holistic. So sit back and relax and enjoy the show.
All right. Welcome to Iggy Garcia Live. It's good to be here. Episode 134, which has no title, no guests, just you. And so we're going to talk a little bit in Iggy's world and what's happening. I hope you can join me for the next 45 minutes or so, hour, depending how long we go. So I want to start off, like I always do, is giving the ancestors for guiding us to this place. And today, I want to say happy birthday to my mom. Happy birthday, Mom. I do miss you. I do care about you. I do love you. I'm your firstborn child. Thank you for getting me to this place, to this moment in time. Thank you, Dad, for picking my mom. Thank you, Mom, for picking my dad. Very grateful for that. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Rosa. Happy birthday to Happy birthday, Mom. So we'll keep this candle lit during the show. And like we always do. Sammy, how you doing, brother? I see you there. Glad you can join us. Got a little congested before the show. I ate before the show, that's why. There we go. Kate, how you doing? Thanks for wishing my mom. I appreciate it. Alright, so we'll let that burn during the show. Put it over here so it doesn't interfere with us. So today, my mom's birthday. Pretty amazing that the 3 years have gone by. Isn't that crazy? How time flies, and people that you are so accustomed to being with you. It's just not hard to believe. But I still feel her presence. I still can smell her cologne that she wears. We call it cologne. In Spanish, colonia, perfume. But she always wear the agua florida, which is the Florida water. She'd always wear that. It was always nice to smell that and walk into her house and her body. So today we celebrate the memory, at least I celebrate my brothers and sisters. We all reached out to each other to have some kind of dinner, but we were all busy. Nice to have them reach out and ask if you wanted to have dinner, and so I thought it was pretty cool. So, because sometimes you fall away from people that you love and you care about, and that's kind of what's happened to us as we grown older. Just because you're around somebody so much and you're in a situation so much, you just want to be in a different environment. But here we are. It's good to be able to share the feelings and thoughts. I hope that some of you have been able to path as I journey on this journey of on my Lent journal. where I'm not eating meat for 35 days. And today is the 18th day. Yeah, 18th day. The video yet. Just had my stuffed mushrooms and my salad, and we'll see how it goes from there. But it's been interesting. It's been interesting to watch my progression in my own eyes as I play back the videos. Like on let's say on Instagram, it plays the first one, then it goes progress backwards. So as I because they're not that long, except all of them, and it's interesting to watch in just a short period of time how much your energy has changed, the color of your skin, dedication to doing it, which is I thought was really important, that you're actually dedicated to do that. And so that was exciting to me. That was really exciting to me. And it's not as hard as you think it is. You just have to make it a game. You have to make it fun. You have to make it real. And you have to enjoy it. And when you enjoy it, it doesn't become a burden. It doesn't become a job. Okay, so today I just kind of want to see where you're all at. Those of you who are online, if you're enjoying the show, just let me know. And if you have any questions, then I can answer. So today I want to talk a little bit about your decision-making process, why we decide on and why we feel the way we feel about certain things. And sometimes we feel that the decision we make, if it was the right one or not the right one. And sometimes we have to battle our own demons and stuff about who we are. So it's pretty simple to get caught in your own how you feel about yourself and what it means to be human, what it means to be human in this world, to be human in this incarnation that you are in, this body that you are with. Now my friend Kate's on here. So she and I went through some processes and stuff today, and to share it because that's her own personal business. But I just find it's interesting how the universe, when we put it out to the universe already quickly and very precisely and very fast. Fast is a relative. Fast for you are probably two different things. Or it can be a week, a month, 2 years. Excuse me. It really depends on where you reside, what you believe. And so I'm going to drink a little water here, clear my throat. There we go. I think my dinner hadn't cleared up. It keeps cutting out on me. Love you, my friend. Okay. Oops, sorry about that. I'm not sure if that's on my end or your end. It could be. So I apologize. And I think we're working. If having the same issue. And if not, then it's just probably an isolated incident. So the universe is vast. Of course, we all know that the universe is huge, and the universe is this thing that we just can't fathom sometimes what it is. But sometimes we have to take the universe into little pieces, and parts. And understanding that we are part of that universe, that great grand scheme of things, that big part of us that is engulfed and wrapped in that, can make it a little easier if you reside in that energy, if you're connected with that energy. Universal consciousness, galactic consciousness, all this stuff is real stuff. Now, not everybody believes it. Everybody tries to play it off and tries to write it off as if it's just a coincidence or just, whatever, sheer luck or whatever. I personally don't believe in luck. I believe we make our luck. When we make the right decisions, the right choices, and we present ourselves, and we are present, and we do the work, then we create luck. And it perceived outwardly from outside looking in, everybody thinks that you're just lucky. It's kind of like the guy who plays the lottery, right? he buys the ticket, he wins the ticket, he wins the jackpot. But if he doesn't buy the ticket, he doesn't win the jackpot. Does that make him lucky? Is he lucky because he won the jackpot? No, he creates his luck, or she creates her luck, when they walk down to the store, take the chance, take the risk, invest $1, $2, whatever they're going to invest, and then all of a sudden, they're a winner, as much as they were be a loser. And so when I talk to my friends about the universe, I always talk to them in some capacity, and I try to explain to them that the universe always responds to us. It may not respond to us in the capacity that we want it to, and the way we expect it to. The whole part of the fun. That's the whole part of the game. You know, the whole part of the being part of this this universe that we can't really see, in the sense picture here, and it's really difficult for me for some reason. We try to picture of what the universe would look like and what it would present itself like. But the universe is so big, it's like an ant walking down Manhattan, New York, Manhattan, and looking just straight ahead and trying to look up and not be able to see these buildings because they're just so big. The universe is kind of like that too. There are so many planes of existence in our own world right in front of us. It's just so vast and so big. There are multiple layers of things that are happening on top of each other as we live. Some people would think it's a storm, some people might think it's rain, some people might think it's whatever. But we are just in multiple dimensional existences without even knowing that we're in them. Because we're too busy and too focused being right here in this plane right here where we're at. So all we see and all we experience is this, which is whatever we create. And that's enough for some people. And you get people like me who are curious and want to expand and want to go, I want to know what's out there. I had a friend send me today a message about how they're sending sperm samples to the moon, or they want to. They're projecting to do this. And I found it really interesting because, and then I shared it with everybody because, of course, that's kind of how I am. And then I started to think about biblical things like Noah's Ark, because they had mentioned the word ark, and how they were trying to create this like seed bank of sorts, like they do, and storing everything and keeping everything kept away. And so it was really, really cool to read this story and see where humanity wants to be. So the aha that I got, the universe being so big, and sometimes we only see what we see, was that we've been here before, that we've done this before, that for some reason we don't have enough history to be able to, interpret the knowledge or whatever. But I truly believe that humanity has been here much longer than we say it has. Homo sapiens just kind of appeared out of nowhere. And all of a sudden, boom, there they are. It's because I think that we've actually evolved since time is an illusion. Can't think of time like we think of time on a watch. I think that things happen so simultaneously, and things are happening all the time that they never end, that we're already in the future, that we're already there, and that we're already creating, that we're already making. Why doesn't it affect us, and why don't we affect it? Because it's always evolving, always changing as we move. And as it exists, it has multiple existence, multiple versions of itself. So I live here today, and I do whatever I do affects what happens further down the line, and many possibilities if I take one road, or this road, or that road. And so when we ask the universe for something, we say, excuse me, wow, pardon me, we say to the universe, hey, I want a car, and the universe says yes. And I always use this example, and then I say, oh, but I can't have a car. How am I going to get a car? And the universe says, yes, that is correct. You can't. You don't possess enough belief wrapped around it to buy it or get it. You don't have the capacity. But if you have the capacity of creation and imagination, and you obtain the car you want, or the job, or whatever, I want this car, and then you all of a sudden you're like, and you'll do whatever. Your body, your mind will start working in the directions of going to what you want and what you're trying to achieve. Believe it or not, this is true. This has been proven. This has been shown. The opposite also occurs. So when one person is going forward, the other someone else is going backward, like going against the current. You know? So when we want to obtain something, be part of something, we will find any way to get there. Now, there are people who start off really good with the great intentions to get where they want to be, and then the work gets hard, and the work gets draining, and the work gets excessive, and it's not fun anymore, and then they fall short. Because dream building is constant. Dream building is not about one moment in time. It's about many moments in time. Place where we want to be. That's why they always say dream big. Dream big, because if you dream big, then no one can take it from you. But your dream has to be so big that no matter what anybody says, it won't stop you from obtaining your goal and obtaining your dream. But why do people have a hard time dreaming? It's because no one's taught us to dream. The majority of you who listen to the shows or watch human development stuff, you're there because you probably didn't have a foundation of this. Now, I know my parents not well, but they didn't really teach me the fundamentals of human development in the sense of how to get things. They just told me I had to work hard, save my money, and just do it again. Work hard, save my money, do it again. It works to some degree. That formula only goes so far. Like, my dad wouldn't invest in the stock market. He totally disagreed with it. He didn't like it. He said it's like gambling, and it is. You're taking a risk, you're taking chances, you know, with your money or other people's money, and it may not pan out for you. So I find it very interesting. But on the other token, my dad was a real estate investor. He would invest in real property, things that he can tangibly touch, things he can, see, things that he can actually have control over. The building, the paint, the doors, anything that wasn't. So he was really good about that. He was really good at that. Now, was he have a hard time with numbers and stuff? No, he's a very, very mathematical man. Very intelligent, very smart. He just knew his strengths. And I think sometimes we don't know our strengths. And sometimes we don't want to take advantage and to learn new things. I, on the other hand, have invested, but I'm not a huge investor, in the stocks, but I have some significant stocks and stuff like that. But I don't have a lot of properties. I've inherited properties from my father. And a lot of it I didn't want to get into the property management business of owning the properties because I didn't really want to deal with the headaches and with the people and the stuff. So you find and you work from your strengths. But I will service and I will work and I will power wash, I will mow, whatever it takes, someone's property, because that's just what I used to do for a living. And so now here, working on human development, working with people's skills, trying to help people find their way has been a big, huge calling for mine. To help others find their way. To help others know that you can do it. To help others say, hey, if Iggy can do it, I can do it. Because most of us just think of ourselves as normal, nothing special. But we know we're special, but we don't really tell people we're special because that can come across very egotistical or very arrogant. So we have battle with ourselves about that. I just present myself as myself. Me. I am me. To the best ability I can be. But I also understand, and it took me a while to understand this, that the person I'm looking across at is also me. Now that's hard for people. That could be very difficult for people to look at another human being, good or bad, perceived, that would be them. But if we're all part of the same creator, the same same cosmic soup, and the explosions that come from that. And we are just little splinters of creation. These little pieces and parts of God, of the universe, whatever you want to call it, the Godiverse. And then this is the way creation and creator experiences life. With us, through us, all together. Kind of like the Trinity, you know? All in one, all the same in one, but still separate and different. So it's very powerful, very interesting when you start to talk about topics like that, because it triggers people. No one wants to be recognized as Hitler. Nobody wants to be recognized as the serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer. Everybody wants to be recognized as, you know, Helen Keller. You know, the nice person, the good people. And in the scheme of the universe, we are all one, regardless of what has happened. Is this the most frustrating thing for a lot of people? It's easier when you go, okay, fine, I can see that. I can see that all those who have been, all those who will be, because I am them. I will always be them. It doesn't matter. I'm the guy down the street. I'm the tree over there. Because energetic, we're all this. You take all our carbon, you boil us down, and we have the same, almost the same identical construct. We're carbon-based creatures. So what happens after this? What happens after life? No one really talks about this because no one really knows. We have our theories and our ideas, and we talk about how universe and how the energy can't be destroyed. It can only be housed and change and whatever. You know, so what happens to us when we die? The biggest and the best analogy I can give you is watch the metamorphosis of other creatures in life. For example, the butterfly. The butterfly goes through its stages of life. And eventually it creates its cocoon and it lives in there and it manifests and recreates and changes its DNA structure when it comes out. I always wondered, does the butterfly remember its incarnation as a caterpillar? Is it important? Does it really matter? You know, considering I'm not a butterfly, but when the butterfly is no longer the caterpillar, it becomes a new version of itself. And then there's no remnants, no idea what it used to be, except for what we see. So I think when we die, we also have this stasis that we go through. You know, when when we pass away, when our body starts to decompose, I think we interfere, with some natural processes about how we are supposed to down and change. Now our energy in our body may move away from us, but I think there's a part of us that changes as well. Yes, the skeleton and everything is left behind, but I think since we're energetic beings, we're universal energy, then when we leave our body, we become this new version of ourselves, this new incarnation, because energy can't be destroyed. And so now we see the world completely different. We navigate it different. We're in it completely different. And I find it very fascinating to think that we, as humans, we may not come back necessarily as humans, but I think our energy leaves us and does whatever it needs to do. And I think it's around us. It's like with us. Sometimes we feel the presence of energy. We feel the ghosts or energetic feelings of stuff. And then our hair and our body stands up when we think about somebody who's passed away. And I think eventually that energy finds a new host, like a new body, and begins to work its way back to the earth. And I think it's a cycle that continues. Now this version, and I always say this on every show, this version of myself no longer will exist, but a new version of myself will exist. Will come from all that stuff. And that's what I find really intriguing and very fascinating about life and death. I know that I've had near-death experiences in my life. Two for sure that I know of. There's been another one too, I just don't recall. But the one that I do remember is the one when my mother was going to have surgery. And that was a life and death moment, because the chances of my survival were very slim. She had appendicitis. My dad had to take her to the hospital. He had to carry her for 2 miles. And then when the doctor said that only one was going to live, my dad's like, no. Them both. That's why I give thanks to my ancestors. That's why I give thanks to my parents. Even when I feel that didn't always do me right, I always remember that story that my dad prayed that my mom and I would survive. Because when her appendix was about to rupture, I don't know how exactly, if it ruptured or didn't rupture, but that's all those toxins go into your bloodstream. So what they did with me is they took me out of her and put me in a solution in the amniotic sac and kept it at a certain temperature. This is a story that was told to me so you can imagine that I'm outside of her body, and I still had 4 months more to develop. So, I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. I have 5 months along. I got 4 more to go. It's a miracle. I mean, it's a miracle just to be alive. Honestly, it's a miracle just to be who we are. It's a miracle to be present, to be able to, just the finite threads that it took for the sperm and the egg to meet, and for that one sperm to impregnate and to activate the fusion that goes on inside that, cause those cell replication and DNA shared, genetics shared. So you're talking about millions of, billions maybe, chance to be who you are today. And so the chances of me was very difficult. And then, but I'm here. The other one is when I fell off a 2-story building. Thought I was Superman. Watched too many cartoons, and the only thing I saw was me falling from the top, and they couldn't do anything about it, and boom, I was out. My 2 witch aunts took all my clothes off, put them on backwards, and hit me and called me back. They kept hitting me and hitting me and hitting me, and I always joke with my mom. She always tells me this story, or she used to tell me the story. She goes, they took all your clothes off and they put them on backwards, blah blah blah, and they started hitting you. I said, well, you know what? They probably hit me so hard, nacho, that they were giving me, CPR, hitting, compressing my heart, keeping the pump moving, keeping the blood flowing. Then eventually I woke up, I guess, because I'm here. Did my mom ask the universe? Did my mom ask for prayers? Did my parents pray and ask for a gift from the universe to do the right things, to save me, to save them? Yeah, they did. They don't have to tell me that, because they probably didn't know. They were just in prayer. Save my son, save my, because they're asking God, they're asking the universe, they're receiving. So we're here by thin threads sometimes, some of us. Some of us are premature babies, some of us, are babies who are past their due date, and they're in there too long, which can cause just as many problems. So the universe does respond, and I do believe that the universe is always listening to us. That's why I said that every word we speak is a prayer. So right now we're living in a time where we're asking things. We're asking for a lot of different changes. And do we always get it? Not necessarily. But, we do get some kind of action, repercussions, and some consequences. Right now we're going through phases in this world where there are things that we don't feel they're appropriate for us to engage with, to be part of. And some of you know that. And some of you call it, cancel culture or whatever. And this energy that we that we deal with, this energy that we're embracing right now, is of change, but it's also energy that of trying to make things right. And sometimes we fall short. It's kind of like and these are extreme examples, but it's kind of like the Taliban when they were doing, I don't know if you remember this, they would go into a region they conquered, or a region that they controlled, and all of a sudden they were, I forget where they were, but they were in this one region where there was a bunch of Buddhas, and they were blowing up all the Buddhas, erasing all the Buddhas, anything of the old religion, of anything that belonged to whatever was there before, and they were just totally wiping it out because they did not want any part of it. They didn't want, that wasn't what their belief, and they were going to wipe it off because they conquered it. And so, you know, is that right? Is that wrong? In the eyes of whoever created that, they had their visions and their ideas of what they wanted. And then we have this new group who controls history because they won. And so now we have these things in modern time. And this just happened in modern times. But also in biblical times, we had a lot of historical documents, like the Bible, a lot of different things. Disagree with me, but that's okay. That's part of being human. That's part of being in the flow and doing the work that you do. You're going to be challenged. You should be challenged. And so now we come into this place where we think something is bad because it portrays an image of wrongness. But sometimes there's lessons that we learn by watching what we're looking at. Okay, so it can be very extreme. It can be very dark. But we learn from that. When we learn what's good and what's not good. Now, some people say, oh, you're bothered by cartoon. Okay, but for some people, the cartoon means something. And it's also something that kids watch. It's also something that our brain processes. So a lot of people get triggered by it. Now, me as a kid, I may have been triggered by it. I may have been learned something from it. But also looked at it as entertainment. It wasn't just fun. The aspect of making fun of somebody, that's not fun. That's not good. Because we, as human beings here in this country, or in this first world, that's the word I'm looking. First world people, I guess is the way I want to look at it. We think that we have to do better, and we should. But I guess we have to also know where the line is. Where should we stop? And some people say corporations are doing it, that they're in control of it. Yes and no. But there's also a voice behind that also activates and goes to the corporate and say, hey, we don't like this anymore because blah blah blah. There's so much that's going on right now about erasing, changing, turning off, not producing, not creating anymore. These things legitimately don't need to be made anymore because they don't serve us in this time. There's no reason for us to do certain things. Now the thing is, when we create, where's the line for it to being art, and where is it the line for it to being political? Because art is politics and politics is art. It all kind of plays into itself. It all kind of melds in. And so, like for Gonzalez thing they were talking about, how Speedy Gonzalez was offensive. But I'm Latino, it doesn't offend me, and many of my Latin friends are kind of laughing about it. And they think it's funny, because most people know that Mexicans aren't like that, okay? And most people know that a lot of people don't behave like that. But it's funny because that's kind of how the world sometimes sees us, even though it's right or wrong. I have a video online where they had some Chicanos laughing about it. They're like, oh, I didn't know. Yeah, they got the drinking down part, pretty right. It was just funny, You have to find the humor in these things. We can't take ourselves so serious sometimes. Even Dr. Seuss, they had 6 books. I don't think they even really published them to begin with. But it tricked somebody off, and somebody wanted to see those books no longer, and it's done. And I went on this, posting of, let's ask the cat in the hat, because I also want people to think, are we just going to always turn something off, and are we always going to just throw it away because it doesn't serve us or because it's wrong? So most of you know I also posted this version about Star Wars, where Luke Skywalker and Ben Kenobi are in Ben's house. Excuse me. And Ben Kenobi says, "Oh, this is your dad's lightsaber." And then at the bottom of the side, I had the post that says, "This is also the lightsaber that killed 30 Jedi Padawans." Are we going to delete Star Wars because Luke Skywalker decided to kill all these kids? We didn't see it happen, but then the sheer intention and the imagination that created that is even more powerful than if we had seen it. Because to plant the thought, to plant that idea that happened, can be even more gruesome and more powerful than if you actually had seen someone's version of what they would look like. Because I remember that scene in that movie when Anakin Skywalker went over there and he killed the little kids, because that's obviously what happened. And the anger and then how later on down the line he became good and came back, and there's a lot of conflicting stories in Star Wars itself. There's a lot of things that we could say, hey, let's just delete Star Wars because Star Wars represents all this stuff that we don't want our kids really learn, and it's promoting death and killing children and blah blah blah, and it's promoting violence. I mean, but there have been movies all our lives that we've seen that have always challenged us and pushed us and put us into this mindset to think about things. Maybe that's why we're at where we're at today, because we're able to process this information and what's good and what's right. I think there has to be a balance. There has to be some kind of harmony between what's happening, what we're seeing. It's easy to just call everybody racist from every group in the world. There's somebody who doesn't like somebody and treats somebody bad. In Peru, it's the same way. Peruvians can be racist. Blacks can be racist. Whites can be racist. Asians can be racist. Russians can be... the list goes on. This isn't like an isolated just to white people, to Anglo-Saxons. This racism is all across the board. There's reverse racism. If you're racist towards this group, that group, we start to get into these dialogues about who's right, who's wrong. So we never get to the point of where we actually heal each other. Healing each other is difficult because, you know what? Nobody wants to look at the other person and say, hey, that's me. No, they're this way and that way, and I can't like them because they're that way. The only reason we're different, the only reason our versions of ourselves are different is because of their upbringing, their learning, and the things that they have been indoctrinated with. Everybody who's on here has different indoctrination. Everybody in here has had different teachers, different types of parents, different types of traditions, backgrounds, and all the things that bring you to this point in life. You're here because of all those things, and you're still processing, and you're still working through it. Now, someone asked me if I was angry because I posted something the other day. I wasn't angry. Awareness to the fact that, not everybody agrees. Not everybody's in agreement with that. Just because, I post something doesn't mean I'm one way or another and affiliated to one group or another group. No, it's just, I like to challenge and get the idea rolling in your head that, there's different versions to the story. But no, it's this way. In your head, it's that way. Yes, it is. I believe that 100%. And I can't change that because you've already made up your mind that it's that way. I can see that what you're saying is that way in your mind. I can see that. Now, the true question is, do you want to own that forever? And are you capable to open up your mind to the possibility that there are other ways of thinking about things, to express things, that not everything is absolute? Sometimes we live in these absolutes where we think that everything has to be done a certain way and we have to destroy things a certain way. Why do we fertilize our lawns? Why do we put weed killer in our lawns? You ask yourself, why do we do that? Those who Well, some people say, well, it's because it's nice, it's pretty, I want it. I need that in my house, you know. I want my yard to be green. I don't want, you know, when you do that, it affects a lot of different things. It affects the environment. It affects the growth of things around it. So, if you want the greenest lawn in the world, you have to work at it, right? And constantly have to work at it. Right. But we fertilize these things. We do things because we've been told it, and we've been taught that things are weeds. One man's weed is another one's medicine. That sounds funny. The dandelion, for example. The biggest fight to keeping the yard green is the dandelion, right? That's the biggest thing that we buy chemicals and put on our lawn. Now you're going, why are you talking about weed killer and stuff? Because sometimes things become so natural and so embedded in our belief systems that we just do it because we just do it, because we don't really think about it. There was one day one guy said, hey, we can make our yard's greener and our yard's greener. And they promote it and sell it to you, and the next thing you know, you just share it with your kids and you pass it down the line. And you share that belief and you keep passing it down the line. And then you get to the third, fourth generation, you pass it down the line, and then you wonder why your kid's sick and why the waters are poisoned. It's kind of the same theories when we teach people the negative things about, you know, life. When we teach people that these group of people are bad, these group of people are lazy, these things are taught, these things are embedded. It's just like creating the garden, creating the weeds, creating the fertilizer, creating the weed killer. So when you start to believe just your story, you start to just believe your story, then that's all you believe. Now, I personally don't put anything in my yard. I just mow it. I pick some dandelions. I had to wait maybe a good 3 or 4 cycle before I pick anything, because my father-in-law used to put, you know, that weed killer stuff to kill the dandelions, because that's what he knew, you know. But in the medicine, your medicine's in your yard, the medicine's in the earth. When we stifle the earth and we poison the earth, we're really just poisoning ourselves. And we do this all over. Now we're in a pandemic where man has lost the ability to live side by side with nature. And now nature has become the dominant species for a moment, which is the virus. But in the meantime, we wear these masks, and they're polluting our oceans. There's tons of masks in the ocean. I don't get that. I don't understand why that is even possible. Why would we even allow that to happen? You know, that doesn't sound like it's as important as trying to get the vaccine. But sometimes we're asked backwards about things, you know. The out of balance thing is what I'm talking about, the harmony. This is my point about tonight. Is that we work so hard to keep ourselves alive, that we work so hard to defeat ourselves because we're not in harmony and balance with nature. When there's a whole island of plastic out in the Pacific Ocean, huge, not little, it's pretty big and pretty significant. Now we're going to have another island of mask out there because we're out of balance, not out of sync. We have lost the ability to connect with Mother Earth, to live with her, to be part of her, and to embrace her, because we're so into ourselves as human beings. Our lives are so important that we have to just do this. Oh, I have to do this. I have to do this. You know? I mean, I've seen people, and I've thrown things back at people. I've seen people throw paper, like bags of food, out of their car going through the drive-thru because there's not a trash can there. And you know what? And I picked that up, and I've thrown it back in their car, and we almost went fisticuffs with that, you know? But the point is, you know, we dump our crap on people, and then we expect them to clean it up for us. No. Take care of your crap. Take care of your home. Take care of your business. Take care of yourself. Stop crapping on everybody because you don't like something or because you think someone else is going to clean it up for you. Humanity is so out of touch with humanity. We're out of touch with each other. We are even more now that we're on this separation, living 6 feet apart in our homes, that we're actually having these mental breakdowns, some of us, because we can't cope not being around other people. There has to come a time where you have to realize, are you going to engage or not engage? Because it's easy to disengage. Our minds are super fragile. We want to think we're the smartest and the strongest because we have advanced science. And, if we kill all the viruses in the world, we've pretty much done ourselves in. Because we actually need viruses to survive. People don't know this stuff because people don't research it. They only research what's, in the know and what's going on now. So why would we have to take vaccines? Because we're out of touch with nature. Because we're not in congruence with her. She attacks us because we attack her. We pollute her because she has to create something to do this. But inside of us are viruses, our germs, our bacteria, our molds. They are the building blocks of our life, why we're able to live. If we erase those things from our body, then we will cease to exist. You will die. But COVID-19 is bad. Of course it's bad. No one ever asks why we have something like COVID-19. Well, that's irrelevant now. We just have to find a way to survive. Yeah, but COVID-19 is just one of many things that can happen to us every day. Let's clean up the lands. Our is polluted. We won't live in the crap, right? Why do we expect nature to live in the crap? Why do you expect nature to take over and clean up your crap? Because we're users. Because we're viruses. And the stuff that you see in the ocean is our crap. The stuff we crap out. And we leave it alone because we out of sight, out of mind. Until it comes to the place where it's knocking on our door. So how do you bring this world into harmony? How do you bring this world into balance? First of all, you have to want to bring it into balance. Number two, you want to have to work with it. It can't be about money. It can't be about how am I going to profit off this. How do you feed the world? There should not be starving children in the world. No, there should not be starving children in the world. There should be nowhere where people are suffering. People are having issues, Should be. If we're as advanced as we speak, as we say, oh, but we're so advanced and we have such science and we have such blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. I get so tired of hearing that shit. Sorry. We're not advanced. We're actually, sometimes, we're just too big for our britches, is one thing. There should not be an island of plastic out in the middle of the Pacific out there. But we recycle. Just heard just now that the recycling stuff that we're doing is pointless. They're actually putting it in the landfill now. Because they have so much stuff they don't know what to even... Because it's petroleum, right? Will they go back and use hemp like they used to create paper products? No, because there's a company that needs wood, cut down a tree, they just deforest the whole area, and then they plant trees that don't really congruently relate to those trees. Everything is a relationship. Everything's a unified effort to work together. Trees are very powerful, very magical, living things, like everything is. There'll be one day when we don't have trees, and that's going to be pretty bad for us. It's going to be very detrimental for us. I'd have to say I probably won't be around when that happens, but it will happen one day. Either maybe to my grandkids or their grandkids. And that's going to be a really sad day for Mother Earth. It's going to be a sad day for human beings and for reality. And you know, I've asked myself, how do we get people to work on these things? And some people are very, very on top of it. And then some people call you hippie, and some people call you tree hugger, and some people just are disrespectful because they don't give a shit. They really don't care, man. They don't care because they just don't freaking care. So you got to work with the people who care, because the people who don't care will never do nothing about anything. So you can't really count on them. You can only count on the people who are willing to go and take that step to pick up the trash, to organize a situation where they pick up trash. I've seen that. I have friends who do this. But the groups are so small and so little. But at least it's something. It's a start. Now, Mother Earth will do what she does. She cleanses, she clears, she moves, she does what she does, and she does. And we will always blame someone or something for what she's doing it. But she does it because we're out of balance. We're not in harmony with each other. And I know we've come a long way from the beginning of the show, asking the universe for whatever we need. So I ask the universe, help us find the right solutions to maintain Pachamama and Pa. You know, help us to find the solutions to keep this earth to the best of our ability, to keep it clean, to keep it safe, not to rape it, not to abuse it like we do. It's a task. It's not daunting, it's just a task, like any task. It will take us to do it. The minority groups, the small groups, will always be the ones that push these agendas forward, and hopefully it creates a movement. Where people get on board and do something about it. So if you want to see changes in your life, you want to see things happen, then be the change, like they say. Be the change that you want to see in the world. You've heard that 1,000 times. The biggest question is, sometimes we're not focused enough to know what that is. But be the change you want to see. Because you only have one incarnation as yourself until you come back into another version of yourself, or decide not to come back. Until then, you have a lot of work to do. I have a lot of work to do. You have a lot of work to do. Let's make this a better place for everybody. For those of us living here now, and those of us living in the future. Will it be easy? Yes. Will it be hard? Yes. Will we get it done in a lifetime? Yes. Will we miss out on some things? Yes. Will things be better? Yes. Will we have some struggles? Yes. That's how the universe answers things. With a yes. Does the universe ever say no? Yes. Does the universe always say yes? Yes. Be assured you're being heard. Trust me on that. Alright guys, I think that's about it for me tonight. I think I shared what was on my heart, what was in my soul tonight, versus just trying to teach a process. The process is just learning how to be in communion with your life, with nature, those that you know, those that you haven't met yet, those that you will meet, those that you've left with, those who are no longer in your life, those who choose to walk side by side with you, those who say goodbye to you. Everybody's here for a moment, for a season. Some of us stay for life, and some of us for only for a short period of time. But either way, just do the best you can with the information you have, and the tools you have, and the capacity you have to do that. And like I always say, it's good to be here. It really is good to be here. I don't know where else I wouldn't be right now. And like the indigenous people, I would say, it's a good day to die. Meaning is I've done everything possible to make this the best version of my life that I have. Die, I'll be thankful and grateful. Matakuyasin, Namaste, Ho'oponopono. What is above is below. Irisikwi. With that, I'll say aho, and I'll see you guys Tuesday. And enjoy your weekend. Have a blast, have fun. Drum circle next week. Be posted. And with that, have a good evening. I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace and love. Kisses to everybody. Hugs. Winks. Fist pumps. Hugs. See you soon.